Ladies and gentlemen, the Wrestling Fans Podcast brings you another exciting Ringside Society, that is, brings you another exciting episode of 15 Minutes of Fandom. In the first corner, we have the greatest thing on God's green earth. No, we're not talking about money, Mary Jane, or Popeye Spinach. He's the tranquil dart of Ringside Society and Delaware's greatest American hero. It takes two to make a thing go right. He is Rob Bass, and you are not. And the second corner, we have that ocean crossing, straight up Boston, flight catching, shot glass snatching, always on the go. Catch him if you can. Said his name in Guyana. Now they love him in Japan. No cap. The worldwide star boy, Remy Blue. And our special guest tonight is a longtime wrestling fan who is coming from the South. Not even the South with an F at the end. Not S-O-U-T-H, S-O-U-F, the down dirty South. Everybody, welcome to the show, Kwame Shakir. Kwame, how you doing today, man?
Woo! I'm doing good. How are you?
Man, we're just here relaxing, chilling, just shooting the breeze on a dynamite-less Wednesday. Normally is when AEW has the action and so on, but I guess due to the playoffs, they've actually temporarily moved to Fridays. But other than that, we're just chilling. Rob's trying to Rob's living the dream, and me, I'm just chilling like a villain on penicillin. That's pretty much it. But how is the weather over there in Alabama?
Man, the weather's good here.
Awesome. It's great to hear, man. So where you at? Montgomery, Mobile?
Montgomery.
Montgomery? Are you in the capital city? That's awesome. Yeah, man. How is the wrestling scene over there, man? I've never really heard anything out of Alabama. I know there's Georgia. I know there's Louisiana, North Carolina, which is where I'm at right now. But I've never heard anything about Alabama. How's the wrestling scene over there?
Well, there was a recent event that took place in Gaston, Alabama. It's basically like an all women's promotion called the Belladonna division or something like that. Yeah,
the Belladonna.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yo,
Casey Dillon's
doing the interview. Yeah, Casey Dillon on that promotion. I even did an interview with like a few months ago.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So you're a podcaster as well?
Not necessarily. I'm more of an interviewer. Writing articles for interviews and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I've been on podcasts.
That's awesome. Okay.
I've been on podcasts.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, we actually had Casey on here like a couple of months ago actually. Mm-hmm. This guy named Mr. Grimm mentioned her, and we were like, and then Rob being the mischievous one. Rob, I told you, stop hanging around that girl. Kathy's gonna get you in trouble, bro.
Oh man.
So Rob was like, I gotta get Casey Dillon on the show, man. I gotta find out because Rob always asks about backstage stories and whatnot. Okay, and he heard one from Mr. Grimm, and Mr. Grimm mentioned Casey Dillon, and so he's like, we gotta get her on the show. And I was like, all right, so we got her on here. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We got her on here, and yeah, she was a pretty good guest. She mentioned Belladonna's, and it looked like it was a really great show. Hopefully, if I'm ever in Alabama, I can definitely check it out as well too. Yeah. But yeah, that was looks like it was pretty nice show.
Mm-hmm. From what I heard, yeah.
Yeah. So, what was the match or main event that made you become like a wrestling fan? What was how did that happen for you?
I remember when I was 12 years old. This was during the peak of it, like in the late 90s. I remember on one particular, hot July night, I remember, flipping through the channel with my remote, found nothing that was interesting until I tuned into TNT, and when I saw the main event match between Goldberg and Hogan, that match got me hooked, and I'm like, wow, I never knew anything about wrestling until after I saw that match. And when I saw that match, I fell in love with wrestling. That became my personal introduction to wrestling. And I'm like, wow, that crowd was absolute fire. That crowd was just as fire as the Double or Nothing crowd this past Sunday. Because wrestling never works without a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Like the WWE Boredom, I'm sick of that. It's time for fans to get back on the road in WWE.
Yeah, to me, like, they've had some good matches, but like, it's not the same without the fans there, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not the same,
man.
And it's funny because, go ahead, you go ahead.
All right, man, it's been very tough for me to watch Raw and SmackDown without the fans at the Boredom, as I call it now. I'm like, man, we gotta watch this again. Like, come on, man, let's just bring the fans back, just like y'all did for WrestleMania 37. The crowd was fire for WrestleMania 37 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it put a smile on my face seeing the fans there, especially when I enjoyed watching the main event night one.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
Wrestling never, like I said before, wrestling never works without the fans.
Yeah, I really enjoyed WrestleMania night 1.
Yeah,
and night 2 just went.
Yeah, night 2 felt like an episode of Raw. Like Monday Night Raw, like 20, 25 years ago, used to be must-see television. But now, like 25 years later, Raw's become boring, stale, predictable, repetitive, uninspired, rage-triggering, sleep-inducing television. Yeah, and that 3 hours is poisonous to your mental health.
So I gotta ask you, do you agree that 3 hours is too much for Raw? Me personally, I mean, I don't care for 3 hours. I say put it back to 2. But what do you think about that?
Man, like, that third hour needs to go. That third hour, like, I know why WWE is not going to do it, because they make so much money off the ads, the corporate sponsors, and all this BS. I'm like this 3 hours has killed the quality of the show. So cut it back down 2 hours. If they cut out 50% of the BS that's on Raw and cut it back down 2 hours, man, Raw would be so much better.
And my thing is, they need to learn that sometimes more is not better. Sometimes, and that's why. So my thing is this: I look forward to NXT. I look forward to SmackDown. 205 even got a bit better. Like the 3 new guys that they have on there, great. They put on A+ matches. But Raw is like just too much, man. Like, at least like 2 hours. There should be no reason why a weekly episodic wrestling show should be 3 hours. No.
Yeah.
It should not be 3 hours. 3 hours is like for a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Something like Raw should just be 2 hours and that's it.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Look, if a pay-per-view can be 3 hours, there's no need for a weekly wrestling television show like Raw to be on there for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Because that third hour has pushed away so many fans over the past nearly 10 years that Raw has been on air permanently for 3 hours. But prior to that, whenever Raw would do like a 3 hour special, like those 3 hour shows were special, man. Whenever they did those rare 3 hour specials, I remember they were special.
So speaking of Raw, right? Speaking of WWE, right? Have you ever gone to any shows like WrestleMania, Survivor Series? Have you gone to any Raw or SmackDown or even a house show?
To be honest, I've never actually been to a wrestling show before.
Oh, okay.
But if there was a WrestleMania like somewhere like, you know, in Atlanta somewhere, I would love to go to a WrestleMania in Atlanta.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind going to. So I've been to one before. It was nice. I was supposed to go to the one in Tampa last year, but like I said, COVID. But as you know, COVID happened, and unfortunately, like everything just got shut down. Bam, like that. That was the end of that.
Yeah.
And but hopefully, maybe I might go to the one in Dallas if I'm available. But yeah, I can tell you, man, there's nothing like going to the WWE show. You meet so many cool people. You just see so many people. Like I've met so many like fans and whatnot, fellow wrestling fans. It's crazy, and the more fans I get to meet, the more fans I can have like yourself on this segment that we actually made for the fans like yourself and so on who have been longtime fans and show the dedication to the sport and so on. Yeah, man, there's nothing like a wrestling, and there's not even an indie show. Like indie shows are like pretty like cool, man, because I like those a bit better because you get to meet the wrestlers in person even more, and you get to like and depending on how if you're cool enough, you could get talk to them a little bit more. And me, running a podcast, I'm like, yeah, would like to be on my podcast. I like your match, how you did things. We'd like to hear your story and so on. And yeah. There's nothing like I miss going to shows, man. I went to one last December and I was like, it was like a breath of fresh air, man. I was like, man, it was in Tampa. Woo, man, it felt good. Even though we had to wear masks, it still felt good.
Yeah, I know it was. I know it was.
Yeah. Yeah. So have you ever met any wrestlers anywhere in Alabama or Atlanta or?
I've actually
all?
I've actually met one at a comic convention a few years ago. Yeah, I actually met I actually met Kevin Nash at a comic convention a few years ago. I got to talk to him, and he seemed like a cool dude, and I enjoyed my conversation I had with him at the local comic convention a few years ago.
Kevin Nash, man, that man was cool, man.
Yeah,
Big Daddy cool. Big Daddy cool.
Yeah. Big Sexy the Giant Killer, man.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, Kevin Nash was he was a good competitor for the world titles, but he was a trip at the same time, man. That man I remember when I used to be when I was like 12 and he was the world champion. That man was like, I thought that man was like the coolest thing on earth, man. When he was Diesel. Ooh, yeah, man.
That was my pop's favorite wrestler at that time, man. He loved Diesel.
Yeah, that was some good times, man. So who'd you enjoy watching growing up, man? Who was like your favorites you enjoyed cheering for, and you couldn't wait to see him on TV and so on?
I was a big WCW guy, so I enjoyed watching and growing up rooting for guys like Goldberg and Sting and Booker T and especially the NWO. Definitely, man, love those guys as well as DDP and Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero. Man, it was some fun time back in the late 90s. Those crowds, man, were just absolute crazy in the late 90s. They were just wild. Man, these crowds today don't compare to those crowds in the late 90s. If you watch like a Raw or Nitro match from the late 90s, just look at how electrifying those crowds were. Those crowds, man, just made the whole show and just the matches feel so much more important and special. If you look at these WWE crowds, they're mostly filled with casual fans. And I'll tell you what, the worst crowd I've ever seen was that Lafayette crowd on Raw 2 years ago. That crowd was just cancer. Man, when guys like Ricochet and Aleister Black came out, they got no reaction. Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, no reaction. Man, that crowd absolute made me just want to puke.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, I went to. Yeah, I'm near Philly too, man. I'm in Delaware, and I remember going to ECW shows and being in that crowd, man. Compared to nowadays, oh man, it was way more exciting back then.
Yeah, even if you went to like ECW One Night Stand 2005, 2006, those crowds were rowdy. Those crowds was just crazy.
Was that dude had that sign that said, "What did it say? Cena wins, we ride."
Yeah, that was 2006, yo.
And they probably would have too, man. Yeah, that place is wild.
Man, they absolute booed this man out of the building.
That's right. Oh man, yeah, Philly fans, man, you gotta love them.
Yeah, and then I remember seeing the clip of Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble in 2015. Oh my God, they just booed this man out of the building.
Even The Rock couldn't save him. The Rock was coming out there. Like,
yeah, he was trying to get his cousin over. It didn't work.
Nah. Oh man, yeah. And then I'm watching the playoffs, man. You know, and I'm like, oh man, yeah, come on, Philly fans, you can't dump popcorn on people like that. Come on, man. Yeah, we better than this, man. Y'all better than this. I've been to Philly stuff, man.
yeah. Philly's known for being the tough sports town.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man, the thing is, man, if you go in there, man, and they, if you get booed or, cheered no matter what, they love you, you know what I mean? I know they booed and threw batteries at Santa Claus, but if you go there and get no reaction, if you go there and they're just sitting there like, oh, man, that's when you got worried, man, because they're like, oh, damn, man, what they going to
do? Yeah.
Crazy.
Something So, do you think that? So, what do you think about the releases that WWE recently did today? Like, they got rid of Braun Strowman, Aleister Black. I mean, the guy was. I didn't want to say like Aleister Black was like just in like, just like sitting around. The guy was in the middle of like a storyline where he just started a storyline with Big E, and he got let go. The Riot Squad was still active. Because when somebody's about to let go, like a couple of years ago, if somebody was let go, you'd be like, I haven't seen them on TV in like a while, so I mean, it's not surprising they were let go. But these people were like let go, like when they were in the midst of, working like storylines and angles, and all of a sudden you're like, yeah, wow, bam, Braun Strowman's released, Aleister Black's released, Ruby Riot's released, Lana's released. Murphy wasn't really doing anything anyways, although I think they did miss the boat with reuniting him with Wesley Blake, but he's released. So what do you think about it? Do you think something's going on, or because that's kind of odd? And rumor has it, and for those of y'all listening, do not quote us on this. Rumor has it that WWE might be getting sold to NBC Universal or some other company. Not y'all, but y'all listening, do not quote me on that. Because next thing you know, you're going to hear, but Remy Blue said, no, that's what I heard. It's a rumor. But Kwame, what do you think about that, man?
Well, in regards to Aleister Black, man, this guy, like, his interest in NXT, man, was absolutely spectacular. Aleister Black had 5 matches in NXT. When he gets called up to the main roster, they stumble and fumble with the gimmick. Like, they keep this guy in catering for months and months. And then he comes back on TV last year and then, has a little bit of screen time, gets put back in catering for months and months again. And then he just recently returned and gave Big E the Black Mass, which was pretty sick. And then all of a sudden he gets released. I'm like, what in the world is going on? And then Ruby Riott, man, she is the most, man, criminally underused, underappreciated women's wrestler, man, out there, especially by WWE. Like, she never got to really, find her group in NXT. Then she got brought up to the main roster with, Liv Morgan. with Lil Morgan and Sarah Logan, they were literally placed together. And then the booking of the Rod Squad, especially Ruby, man, was just downright bad. And you know, the reason why WWE's doing this, because I think they're you know, because the guy named Nick Khan that was recently appointed president, he's making changes, and it's also been rumored that WWE could be looking to become, in terms of business strategy, like the MCU. Because WWE is not as big as MCU. They're big, but they're not as big as MCU. Because in the late '90s, Marvel, they were on the verge of bankruptcy until the movie Blade got them out of that. And then that was the prelude to what we know today as the MCU.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but it's going to be very interesting. The next couple of weeks are going to be very. And plus, I heard that there might be more. And once again, y'all, those of y'all listening and watching, do not quote me on this. Matter of fact, don't quote us on this, because I don't want y'all to say, yeah, Ringside Society's giving out rumors and or telling lies. Now, the stuff we heard that there's going to be. I heard that there's going to be more cuts coming soon. So it's gonna be interesting. I hope this doesn't mean the end of WWE, because you know it would be the end of a great era. And I honestly never wish any company to go under, unless they're like a sleaze bag company. I would never wish them to go under, because at the end of the day, these men and women need a place to own their craft and make money and so on. And now if WWE were to go down, you know that's one less place.
Yeah, WWE, now WWE, they actually started off as a regional promotion, and then over the past like 37 years, they have become this global multi-billion-dollar juggernaut as we know today. Because so many, like you often hear so many, you know, modern-day wrestlers and even fans like me talk about, you know, we want to, you know, we aspire to be this you know, WWE wrestler when we grow up, or we actually grew up watching, you know, certain wrestlers during like different periods in WWE. So, you know, WWE has, you know, given us a lot of memories over the years, whether good or bad, but the memories on Raw right now are really bad.
Yeah, you are right about that. But I never wish any promotion. I really hope they're able to like come out of this rut, man, because it's another place for them to actually make money, for wrestlers to make money. And that's what I think about the wrestlers. You know, it's good to see them like work hard and get rewarded and so on. That's why when people are saying like, oh, Impact should go under, or Impact should just cease operation, I'm like, no, that's less options for you. That's less options for you to watch.
Yeah,
Impact goes away. That's another place where people.
Yeah, because if you look at it, right, there's so many opportunities to get money. Not just in WWE and AEW Impact. There's MLW. There's New Japan. There's the Indies. There's Ring of Honor. There's so many options to choose from. Because last year the pandemic really, oh man, it really hurt, man, those wrestlers, especially the ones on the Indies. But now with, you know, things slowly opening back up, now, you know, those guys can go back to doing what they loved to do before the pandemic shut everything down last year.
Yep, definitely. So my last question before I turn over to Rob. I know Rob asked some questions for you. Once everything is reopened, are you planning on going to any shows real soon? Maybe in Alabama, maybe check out Madonna's, or you know, maybe go over to Atlanta and see like maybe you know a couple of shows over there.
Yeah, I would love to.
Awesome. Well, I hope you actually get the opportunity, because like I said, man, it's a fun atmosphere. And the thing with indie shows is like, if you keep on going, eventually it's like a family meeting. Like if you keep on going. Because I remember when I was in New Jersey, I went to this one promotion called PWS, Pro Wrestling Syndicate, and because I kept going there for like pretty much a year straight, the people the people I kept seeing there felt more like family and like, hey, how you doing and what and so on. So it's just a fun, you know, feeling. And you know, even though the production's not as big as AEW or WB, it's still, you know, fun to go to these shows. That's why I always tell people, support indie wrestling, man. You'll have a good time if you go there, you know. And plus, you never know who you'll meet, you know. Rob is probably going to be like, geez, here he goes again. But Rob is now a security guard for one of the promotions that he kept going to. So
training to be a ref,
he's putting up rings and whatnot too,
getting ready to train to be a ref.
Yeah, training to be a referee. Yeah.
Manager positions were full, man, or I'd be like a cult leader type, you know, out there like Bray Wyatt with my Hawaiian shirt, the jacket or something. But you know, I'll start by I'll do what I can.
When you get your certification, we're gonna put you on the hot seat. We're gonna have a big picture with Rob Bass in his striped shirt. He's gonna tell us about his journey on becoming a referee. Watch and see. You ain't gonna get away from this one, bro.
Oh, I'll make sure everybody comes to see my match. You know, I'll make sure it's recorded and broadcast live.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I get a referee.
Anyways, I'm gonna turn it over to Rob. I know Rob has some questions. So, Rob, go ahead, man. The floor is yours.
All right, sweet. Thanks, Remy. So, what's going on, man? How's everything doing your way, man?
Man, everything's doing all right.
That's what's up, man. Y'all, it ain't hot down there yet, is it, man? Is it still like, you know, on that springtime, you know?
Yeah, springtime weather.
Okay, cool, man. Yeah, that's what it is here, man. We had a little heat wave like last week where it was in the 90s and I almost died because, man, we get that humidity. And that stuff, man, is bad. I hate that, man. I walk outside, it's like punching me in my face. I start speaking Pootie Tang language. I'm like, Salake, flim flam with the tippy tap. You know what I mean? So I'm like, that humidity, man. Woo.
Yep.
So I got to ask, man, have you been catching up with those A&E biographies and Dark Side of the Ring things?
Yeah, I do watch Dark Side of the Ring.
Okay. Did you, what was the last one? The Warrior was the last one, right?
Yeah.
Did you get to see that one, man?
Yeah, I actually did get to see that one.
Oh, man, what'd you think of that, man?
Yeah, I actually liked the episode, especially the fact that Warrior's first wife, Sherry, actually added so much layer and depth to the man beyond the persona in that episode. And the placement of Eric Bischoff in that episode was weird to me. Like he was like, the placement of him in that episode was just weird. But in that previous episode, Collision Korea, he was like one of the MVPs of that episode. And like that Collision Korea episode, that was like the second darkest Dark Side of the Ring episode I had ever watched, behind the New Jack one from last year.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, man, that trip in Korea was scary. And Tuco Scorpio, who I actually love so much, he was my MVP of that episode. He talked about how he laid the SmackDown Halt for real on the boss. He nearly killed this dude. I'm like, woo.
That's right. And what they say, he was like, man, I was going to kill him, man. Oh yeah, man, we get back in style. Like, man,
another wrestler, stepped in and said, hey, don't kill him, man. Let's just survive this hell, do this show, and just get up out of here.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to go to jail there.
No. Yeah, when they left Korea and got to Japan, they were happy, man.
That's
they
right.
Were just happy.
Yeah, I know on that Warrior one, man. I remember one of the stories on there was Jake the Snake, man. He was like, I was waiting back there with the Warrior, man. Hall of Fame weekend. I had a roll of quarters in my fist. I'm waiting him to come across that corner, man, so I can just bust him up. And he said, I was like, yo, man, could you imagine that? Yeah, you read that in the paper next day. Yo, Jake the Snake just like crushes Warrior's jaw, roll of quarters. Like. But he said, man, he came up and was like, man, look, my bad, and he was like, man, But oh man, yeah, that was wild. Woo.
Oh man, yeah, he was just about to beat this dude down.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was getting ready. And speaking of Jake the Snake Roberts, man, he's going to be featured on this week's episode, which talks about his father Grizzly Smith and all the horrendous things that he did to him and his siblings. Yeah, this episode is going to be extremely dark.
Oh yeah, that's it, man. Because those ones are hard for me because I know that Owen Hart one was pretty hard. The Brian Pillman, I was like, ooh, man, that one was, especially man when they were talking about his son.
So get this. So get something funny here. Jake Roberts is a snake handler. His father's some guy named is a grizzly guy. His brother's a cowboy, and his sister's a rocker. That's one hell of a family right there.
Wow. Man, I'm very interested. I'm very interested to hear about that dark, chilling story next week because I gotta really get my emotions ready for that episode. Because a lot of the stuff we're going to hear this upcoming first night is going to be what they say not suitable for kids.
Oh yeah, parental advisory.
Parental discretion is advised.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that New Jack one, man. Yeah, that was a good one too. Right after that, man, Remy, man, he worked his magic and got Mustafa on here that very next week, right? So I asked him, man, because on there they're like, man, he was smoking pencil shavings. I asked him about that. He said, man, I wasn't smoking pencil shavings. I was smoking Sherm stick. That's why I went crazy on them, Kyle. I was like, oh, all right then, man, cleared it up. That's right.
Wow.
Yeah, so I guess, if you watch it, he wasn't smoking pencil shavings that night. It was Sherm stick. I was like, all right.
I figured, man, if they got the life and crimes of New Jack, it wasn't just one gangster, it was two gangsters. I'm like, what about the life and crimes of Mustafa Said? And I hit him up. I didn't even expect, because I thought this man's got years in the business. And this man actually was like, yeah, I'll come on your show. And I was like, wow, I can't. A man I used to read about. I mean, Rob, I know you actually saw him live.
Yeah, he fought New Jack.
I grew up in Guyana reading about this guy, him and New Jack, and I'm like, wow, this man has actually agreed to be on our podcast. This is crazy. This is heavy. And he had a lot to say. He talked about being in WWE and all that stuff. But yeah, man, we made that happen.
Wow. Man, that's amazing that y'all made that happen.
Yeah, man, because I watched that. What was that? Go ahead.
See, here's the thing. I always tell people, we're the kind of people, we'll interview George Michael, but we also want to know about Andrew Ridgely. We'll interview Timberland, but we want to hear what Magoo's up to as well. And so on and so on. So that's how we are. Like, we want to know what the other guy is doing as well, too. So, yeah. That's how we are, man. Because everybody has a story to tell. And, everybody's like, everybody. And you never know what you may get. You never know what you may get. We had Princess Victoria, who a lot of people, I'm pretty sure like 90% of WWE fans that were born after, I like to say 1990, which is when I started watching, don't know about her. They only know that the first tag team champions are Sasha Banks and Bayley. But 90% of them wouldn't be able to tell me off rip who were the first ever at all, WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. They wouldn't be able to tell me that. Which is Princess McIntyre.
Yeah, because WWE likes to revisit history to fit their own narrative.
Mm-hmm.
That's why 90% of WWE fans today don't even know about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's sad because that's part of history. I mean, I'm surprised that somebody hasn't really hired her to present some tag team titles to a winning women's tag team. I'm surprised nobody has done that. I hope somebody does that real soon. But yeah, we had her on the show, man, and she was cool, and we had her twice on the show actually. And yeah, she was really cool and everything. But go ahead, Rob. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off, man.
Oh no, man, you're good, man. So, man, yeah, like we were talking earlier, man, about crowds coming back, man. I'm like, yeah, I agree. Thank you, man. The Thunderdome, it was all right. It was a little escape when it first came out. But then after a while, I was like, all right, man, you going to make some choo-choo sounds with Braun running around here. And, I was like, all right, like I was done, man. That was why I really threw in the towel. But, yeah, man, that AEW pay-per-view, man, that crowd was, they were on it. That triple threat match, man, see, we all knew Kenny Omega was going to win. But there's a couple times, Orange Cassidy, had that near fall, man. That crowd was into it, man. I was always a believer. I was like, oh, man.
Yeah, man, they were pretty much into almost all the matches except for the Cody Ogogo match. Mm-hmm. The crowd went dead for that match.
Yeah.
The minute they saw Cody's style, that killed the whole vibe of the crowd for a while until after that match. that was like the worst match on the entire show.
That's right.
Easily the worst match on the show.
That's right. Man, and then when Sting come out, man, that was like, woo, they went off on that one.
Yeah, man, I absolutely saw that match yesterday, man, with him and Darby versus Scorpio Sky, even Faye. I absolutely loved that match. That was my favorite match on the entire show.
Oh yeah, man, I love seeing Sting come back, man. Sometimes, man, when I was younger, I'd be like, man, what are these dudes doing, man? They should retire. But man, I'm like, yo, Sting is the man. I don't care how old he is. He can be 80 years old. Yeah, Scorpion Deathlock, Scorpion Death Drop. Let's go.
Man, Sting, man, he looked great in that match. He looked better than Bill Goldberg has in the last 5 years in WWE. He even looked way better than the Undertaker did in the last 5 years of his career, and he even looked way better than Kurt Angle did from 2017 all the way up to the last match of his career against Baron Corbin. So
that's right,
man. And the fact that Sting did a Code Red A61 was fire.
I know, man. Yeah,
man. The crowd just popped for that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can't wait till the shows start coming back around. But yeah, I think it's like Texas is getting them all right now. I think because I think they're the ones opened up pretty much. But most places are open up. You know what I mean? But yeah, Texas is getting them all right now, man. I wish I lived kind of close to there.
Yeah, like they say, everything's bigger in Texas.
Yeah, that's right. What Bum B say? Texas is the home of the players and pimps.
Yeah, I've heard that song right now. Yeah, and WWE, they're going to have live fans on the road for the July 16th episode of SmackDown. There's no more Thunderdome. There's no more Thunderdome after the 12th of July.
Yeah, I'm glad, man. So because I want to see what the crowd's reaction to when you got the head of the table coming up there, the tribal chief. Yeah. I want to see that. I want to see them just like, woo. I just want to see that, like, yo.
Yeah, you're going to get that reaction.
That's right. And that's the reaction he's been wanting for a couple of years too, man. Like, man, everybody been booing him. It's like, all right, well, you can boo me now. I'm tribal chief.
Man, and speaking of him, man, he's having he's doing the best character work of his career. He's having the best runs. He's having the best run of any title he's had in his 10+ year WWE career. Man, he's like money. Man, if Roman Reigns were to get released, I'd be shocked.
Oh, yeah.
That would send chills down everyone's spine.
Yeah, I would literally. Ooh, I would say. Oh, go ahead.
The last thing I want to hear is Roman Reigns has been released by the WWE.
Yeah, I would literally, not figuratively, soil myself if I seen that. I'd be like, man, I need to change the drawers, man. Wow. Roman? Oh, no. Yeah. Because when I was reading it today, man, I was like, man, they released Ruby. Like, yo, man, like, they didn't even get like you said, Riot Squad, they didn't even get a chance. And they were the pure women's tag team, like the only one in there. So
it's got like, all right, here's the SmackDown women's division as of this current date. Let's see, Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Carmella, Liv Morgan, Natty, and Tamina, and that's it.
Yeah.
There's only one tag team left. They've killed all the organic tag teams now.
And then on Monday, man, they got my girl Nikki Cross, man. Like, oh man, we can beat her in 2 minutes or less. I'm like, this is what we reduced her to. Man, she was good.
Yeah, man, she was fire in NXT, but like that theme that she has right now on Raw is awful.
That's right.
Man, it is generically awful. I'm like, please give her back an old Sandy theme.
Now, man, with SmackDown Roman, doing this thing, man, who do you think's going to be the one that dethrones him, man? I'm thinking, Big E might do it, man. They're, kind of building him up, man. Yeah. Well, they were, going to have him with a few, but I'm thinking, man, they build him up. He could be one of the people, dethrone Roman.
Yeah,
I'd like to see that.
Man, it could definitely be Big E because, I feel like, if they build him the right way and heading into going into SummerSlam, that's going to make for a very interesting matchup between those two. In front of those real fans in Vegas, it's going to be hot. It's going to be hot in Vegas.
Oh yeah, Vegas. Oh yeah, that's right. SummerSlam is in Vegas too, right?
Yeah, they're going to have the beach ball. They're going to have the beach balls out there in Vegas.
Yeah, Deless Cesaro out there, man. He gonna go out there and snap.
Yeah, Cesaro does like the beach balls.
That's right. Oh man. So yeah, man. Before I pass it on back to Remy, man, I want to say, well, no, hold on, man. You said Goldberg was like your favorite back in the day and stuff, right?
Yeah,
Man, man. I remember back in the day, we used to watch, my buddies and I, we would watch, the Monday Night War with Raw and SmackDown, man. We used to always watch from 8 to 9, Nitro, and then from 9 to 11 it was Raw. But we always changed it when Goldberg's match come on because we were like, yeah, we wanted him to spears jackhammer somebody. That's what we wanted to see. We don't matter who was on WWE. Click, we watching Goldberg.
Yeah. And then once Austin and Rock them came on Raw, flip TV back.
Yeah, you gotta flip it back. Yeah, man, yeah. Yeah, because man, I remember watching Goldberg jackhammering the Big Show, picking him up, holding him. Bam.
Man, the crowd popped crazy for that.
Ooh, yeah, I know, man. Whew.
Man, they popped crazy, and then they popped crazy after he beat Hogan for the world title. They threw like toilet tissue and cans and stuff. Oh man, I'll never forget that, man. Those crowds were crazy back in the late 90s.
Man, there's one when you see Hogan when he turned his back on WCW, joined the NWO, and they're standing there. Somebody throws a cup of soda, and it hits Scott Hall right in his head. And it's just I saw that. I'm like, oh man.
Oh my God,
man.
They threw all sorts of stuff in that ring, man. After that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man, there's two things you don't see anymore also, man. You don't see signs really anymore or the camera flash, man. I miss that camera flash. I know everybody got cell phones, but
yeah, in WWE, they confiscate signs. They don't allow like certain signs to be brought to the arena. And you cannot wear shirts that says Bullet Club or anything non-WWE, by the way. They've even escort people out of the building for wearing shirts like that. Or even there was a woman who I won't name. She came to a WWE Raw show after SummerSlam 2018 with a sign that said "Face fuck me, Finn," and she was escorted out of the building. Yeah.
Damn. Oh well, man. They wild, man. Man. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, because I've been to shows, man. Yeah, because I don't think I've brought signs, recently, man. I haven't done that recently, but I'm gonna try to next time. Next time the shows open up in Philly, Baltimore, I'm gonna write a sign. I think I'm gonna do Bullet Club. No, AEW or something, man. AEW, Orange Cassidy, Bastard Pac or something. Put it up there, see what they do.
Oh, they're gonna definitely confiscate that and probably escort you out the building.
That's right. Probably. Well, maybe it depends on where I'm sitting, man. If I got them, the nosebleeds, man, they might be like, yeah, whatever, man. We ain't even gonna pan the camera on you anyway, man. Write whatever you want, man. You write whatever you want. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Before I pass it on back to Remy, man, I want to say, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, man, coming on chatting with us, man. I had a blast, man. It was awesome talking to you. Man, I wish nothing but the positive things to you, your family, and all that stuff in the future, man.
I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, no problem, man.
Hey, Kwame, I gotta say, man, it's Kwame, right? That's how you pronounce it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just gotta say, man, hey, thank you for actually, coming on our show, for appearing on our show, and just shooting the breeze with us about wrestling. This is one of our segments that we actually enjoy. Really and truly, we love talking to the fans to our fellow fans, because at the end of the day, we're the ones that make this. We're the ones that make this possible. We're the ones that make wrestling possible and so on, and make these promotions. When the wrestlers too, but we're the ones that make them keep thriving if we keep on supporting them and so on. So. I like to hear from the fans. We like to hear from the fans as well too, and so on. And a lot of these wrestlers, where they started off as fans, and they had a dream and they decided to pursue it, and now they're here. So, yeah. But with that being said, before we close the show, man, where can fellow wrestling fans find you on social media if they want to talk wrestling, or find out what hot shows they got in Alabama or Georgia?
Well, they can just find me on Instagram at Kwame Shakir 90. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, with that being said, it's about time for us to close the show. My eyelids are getting heavy, so that means it's time for a nap. And I haven't had dinner yet, so I'm gonna have a little bite to eat as well. But before I go ahead and do that, Rob, where can they find you on social media if they want? Where can fans find you on social media if they want to shoot the breeze about wrestling or be on the show? Where can promoters and wrestlers find you if they want to be on the show or hire you once you become a full-fledged referee?
Yeah, you can find me Rob_Base82 at Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and then like YouTube and Facebook, Rob Base.
Cool. And if you want to find me on social media, now that I have anything interesting to say these days, you can find me on Twitter at the Remy Blue. You can also find me on Facebook under Remy Blue. You're going to see a picture of me at WrestleMania 28. So go ahead and give me a follow. We'll see. But otherwise, our podcast is also on Twitter at Ringside Society. Our podcast is also on Instagram. And we're also on Facebook. Yes, we have a Facebook group. So make sure you join our Facebook group as well. We also have a Twitch channel. Shout out to our mod, Alicia Landis. Welcome to the team once again. For those of y'all that missed it, we announced her on Instagram. Glad to have you. Shout out to Kathy. We miss you. We'll see you Sunday. And we also have a YouTube channel. Yes, we're on YouTube, which is where this episode is being streamed. So make sure you actually go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel because we have a lot more episodes coming your way. As a matter of fact, we'll be back this Sunday with another Nightmare Factory Class 2 graduate who goes by the name of Lewis Lessons. I call him, my unofficial nickname for him is the Sleeper Hit, because this guy, you don't know a lot about him, but when he goes in the ring, he'll show you something. And he was very impressive at the Student Showcase 2, which is available on YouTube. So make sure you check it out. It's free. You ain't got to pay nothing, so you ain't got to be cheap about it. It's free. So definitely go ahead and check it out and support the Nightmare Factory. As a matter of fact, they have a show coming up here in good old North Carolina, Burlington to be exact, on June 25th. If you're around the area, check them out as well. But yeah, Lewis Lessons is going to be actually, no, that's tomorrow. I'm sorry, Rob. I'm losing it, man. But yes, tomorrow we'll be back with another episode. Our special guest will be Lewis Lessons, and he'll be here to shoot the breeze with us about wrestling and his journey in becoming a professional wrestler and so on. But with that being said, we just want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight. We know you could have been doing something else, but the fact that you stayed here and listened to us really means a lot to us. For those of you that are going to listen to us later on, via our YouTube channel or our Twitch channel, thank you in advance. And to those of you that hate us, can't stand us, and really and truly wish we would just shut down and go away, well, we're sorry you feel that way, but we're not going anywhere for a while.
Yeah, they hate us because they ain't us.
We definitely ain't stopping. It's been 2 years now, bro. They just don't get it.
That's right.
But with that being said, we here just want to let everybody know that we are very well aware that everybody and their grandparents and their parents have a podcast. We're not your grandparents' podcast. We're not your parents' podcast. As a matter of fact, Rob, we're not just any podcast, bro. Rob, one time for the mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, and one time for our great guest from Alabama, Kwame Shakir. What type of podcast are we?
We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast.
That's right. We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. # We Are Not the Same. I'll put that on a shirt real soon.
That's right.
But until we see y'all again, stay safe, stay healthy during this pandemic, be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes. We out. Peace.
See y'all. Good night. Stay classy, Delaware.
So well.